Our hymn is number 263 in our hymnal, the Advent hymn, Savior of the Nations Come. And if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of the page, you will see these German words, Nun Komm der Heiden Heiland. And this is the name of the tune. So where does this come from? We first see the hymn appear in a hymnal called the Erfurt Enchiridion, which is the second Lutheran hymnal published in 1524. Now, an enchiridion is a fancy word that means a small booklet containing essential information on a subject. And in a sense, our current hymnal is a kind of enchiridion because not only does it contain hymns, it also contains helpful liturgies and prayers for all sorts of occasions. Now, the other cool thing about this hymnal is that it's printed. Now, invented the printing press in 1440, but it wasn't until 1501 that the first book of music was printed. Now, looking at the page, we can see our text, Nun Komm der Heiden Heiland, but then we also see this other phrase, Veni Redemptor Gentium. And like our hymnal, we have the text and the tune all on one page. This means that the tune for this hymn comes from the chant from First Vespers of Advent, Veni Redemptor Gentium, which means also that it was one of the first things heard as the Advent season began. Now, Vespers is a service that takes place in the evening, and after several psalms, we get to the hymn. A hymn in this kind of service is a poem which is in rhymed verses. And I will sing the first verse for you now so that you can hear the tune upon which our hymn is based.
Veni Redemptor Gentium, ostende partum virginis, miretur omne saeculum, talis deget partus Deum.
Now, if I sing the German chorale tune at the same pitch as the chant, you will be able to hear the similarity.
Nun komm der Heiden Heiland, der Jungfrau ein Kind erkannt, das sich von der alle Welt Gott solch Geburt ihm bestellt.
Using pre-existing tunes as the foundation for a new musical composition for multiple voices was actually pretty standard procedure before the 18th century. So we find several instances of this tune from Luther's hymn in the music of Johann Sebastian Bach. This brings us back to our own hymnal. Now, when we get to the part of the service where we get to sing the hymn, first we get to hear one of Bach's settings of the tune played in the introduction by the organ. Then for the first 3 verses, everybody gets to sing, and maybe you can even try to sing in a part. Then for verses 4 and 5, a smaller group does a more complex arrangement, but you'll still get to hear the tune in longer notes in the top voice. And then we all join in again in verse 6.